Hello! Today we are going to make this adorable Jane set romper by Charm Patterns. I have chosen this Miss Fluff mermaid print, which is the cutest thing ever. So the first thing you're going to do is cut out all of your pieces, noting the pieces with interfacing, and your outside facing piece, which can be in an alternate color or something super cool, a different print. You can also add lots of trim to that. And this is the halter strap. You're starting with ironing on all of your interfacing pieces so they are ready to go. You'll assemble the inner bust piece first. So it's 4 pieces total, 2 pattern pieces cut, 2 on the fabric, 2 in interfacing, and stitch the center seam of each bust cup together first. From here, you will note that there is a center dart that will be in the center breast area down the center front of the piece of finished garment. So you'll want to make sure and sew those. If you forget, like I have in the past, it ends up looking a little wonky. So make note of that to yourself and on the pattern piece by clipping little notches. Then you will assemble the center front together, making sure that your seams match where the darts are. As you can see here, I have also top stitched my seams. You don't have to, I just like the look of it. You'll clip little notches in the bust to make that easier to do. From here, serge the bottom of it or zigzag stitch, fold over and hem. Look how nice that looks. It's already very fancy and exciting. And here I'm just top stitching my center seam line. Again, it's optional. It looks nice. Feels a little bit more vintage. Next, we'll assemble the bodice front, and you will repeat this similar way of constructing by doing each side of the bodice first, but also making note, like I'm here, doing the center seam darts. So you can sew these first, or you can sew them after you assemble each side of the bodice front, but just make sure they're in there. Again, I've made the mistake of forgetting them. And then I put the outfit on and I'm like, why is this fitting so weird? All right, so here I've got the front sections of either side of the bodice. So I'm only going to show you sewing one side. And when it opens up, you can see what I mean here. It's a little hard to describe that I mean center piece side and side piece side. But essentially, it's the seam that goes over the bust line. And now, before stitching down the center, don't do that yet, we're going to add our decorative facing piece. So I love pom-pom fringe. Can't get enough of it, little chi-chi balls. And you'll want the fringe to face up on the good side of your piece. And then as you can see, what I'm about to do here is flip it under, and that might make more sense now. So as you stitch this down, that's how it lays on the bodice top. So here we go. I'm just going to put some stitches in here. This is a good time for me to say thank you all for your patience and your continued patronage. I have been traveling and moving my studio and things have been super crazy, but I have so excited about doing this tutorial because it's summertime, it's fun, everyone loves a romper, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, let's assemble. So one thing I didn't do here until later is put a basted or a loose wide stitch across the top. Stitching the facing pieces down to the top of the bodice would have been a little bit easier, because what you'll want to do is with the facing pieces and the fabric pieces, you stitch the entire thing down the center. And you want to make sure to match your dart lines, try to match that facing so it's like, you know, looks really, really connected and like really mermaid. And on the interior of all of this too, if you want to finish it with a serge hem or a zigzag, whatever your prerogative is and whatever type of machinery and equipment you have. So as you can see, as I open it up here, your bodice top is coming together. And this is when I realized, oh, I guess I could have stitched down that facing piece there, huh? So I will proceed to do that right here. Although that step was easier to do first before putting it together. All right, so now to make this all fancy schmancy and nearly done, you'll put the good side of your bust to the good side of your fabric and sew them together at the top. And also, if you want this pattern, I highly recommend it. You can go to charmpatterns.com. And if you want this fabric and also many different types of fabric that Miss Fluff has, go to www.missfluff.com. I'm not sponsored by either one of them. I just love what they do so much. These women are so super, super cool, and I'm really impressed by them. So I wanted to make something with both of their things. And here I am just notching into that little V-dip. I want to notch as close to the seam as possible. You can put a little dab of glue there too. As you see here, when I'm about to turn it out and flip it inside out, the releasing of the tension of that stitch really allows this to not be pulled. It lays much nicer and flatter. All right, look how fancy. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Yay! So that's the bodice top front. Now we'll do the back. Back is similar to the front in terms of where you start. You want to stitch down that center bit there. And by center, I don't mean back center. I mean side center. And match your notches along the way just to make sure that everything's all even. And from here, you can finish off as well by serging that seam or zigzagging it. But you're going to want to do it across the top part here too, because that's going to be the top of your back. And I've magically fast forwarded through time and have already serged that. What I'm going to do here is a little bit different than some of you may know. I'm going to measure how much hem allowance I actually have. So I take the notch in the side seam of the back and the notch of the side seam in the front bodice, and I match it, and then I just walk up with my fingers and see how much seam allowance I have there. And that will be folded over, and you want to mark where you fold it over, like where you're going to start your stitch. And so now I know how much to hem in from that side. And also here, I only go to about a few inches away from the very, very back. When I set my zipper in, I'm going to want that extra fabric at the top to flip over the zipper top so it looks nicer. So I've left that open for now. I prefer to do it this way. When we assemble this whole thing, then you won't have to go back through and hem it once it's done. That might make no sense, but it will when you watch part 2. So that's it for now. Thank you so much, and I will see you in part 2.